Okay, Musicfest. Three of us brought up something. Nobody really got questions answered. So here's my question and here's the non-answer.
First is on Musicfest. Just looking over 2011, a curious thing was that sponsorship money seemed to have been filtered through UCPAC, including amounts of like $8,500 and all. There were $299,000, including $100,000 from Union County, and I didn't see that last year. Why specifically did UCPAC get the sponsorship money directly? I mean, was there some tax reason for it? You know, that.
Sponsor dollars to UCCF question. Ms. Taylor, can you respond to the sponsor dollars through UCPAC question?
Yes, Madam Chair. It was a decision made to have PAC take charge of the sponsorship monies, primarily to help offset the costs associated with the 2011 Music Fest. This was something that was also done last year, and it was a continuing practice in 2011. I will tell you through the corrective action plan that was authorized by the county manager, we did keep an accounting of the sponsorship monies that went to PAC to offset the 2011 Music Fest, so we could have a greater accountability of the entire process.
Thank you.
And your question?
I want to know if Musicfest, why the sponsors are paying their money to the Union County Arts Center rather than the county directly, and I want to know if it has tax implications, whether that's write-off since they're making this contribution to the Union County Arts Center, which is a 501c3, so I don't know. I offered some documents from the Arts Center. They're telling me they're not subject to the Open Public Records Act, so when the sponsors donate that money to the Arts Center, I don't know if the Arts Center is, I don't know what agreement they're entering into, whatever, but that is shortly going to be addressed by the Union County Watchdog Association, by the way. It needs to be challenged. If they're going to be an instrumentality of government, which they are, then they should be subject to the Open Public Records Act. If they want to play these games and hide these things, these freeholders want to hide through these nonprofits, and these nonprofits are going to have to be dragged into court and be made subject to the Open Public Records Act. I mean, it's a burden on citizens to have to do this, but this is our county government. It's very distasteful. So tonight I didn't get an answer. Maybe they don't even know. They probably don't even care. I just get this feeling like this Music Fest is just beyond them. It's not their project. It's George Devaney's toy, and they don't want to upset George Devaney, who's still very much involved with county government. So they don't really know what's going on. They don't want to know. They don't want to get involved with it, but it's just a constant struggle for information about this Music Fest. It doesn't end. It just doesn't end. I'm on it.
Let me just mention, I mean, maybe, I forgot who it was, maybe Jim that mentioned, but Bibby Taylor, oh yeah, you mentioned about the Barclay money, but anyway, Bibby Taylor, who's the finance director, she says, oh, the Barclays money, because the county actually got some money for having parking for the Barclays golf tournament. $125,000, but anyway, so Bibby Taylor, the finance director, said they put that money in a trust fund, and if anybody wants to donate money to the Music Fest, it would also go in the trust fund. Well, later on, I guess John Burry asked a question, and maybe he'll talk about his question, but Bibby Taylor again came up and responded and said that, oh, it had to do with the UCPAC, that the money is now in UCPAC, maybe John will say it. But Bibby Taylor again said, oh, well, money was sent to the UCPAC for accounting, for proper accounting, and for sponsorship and transparency. And the question is, if they did that, why did the prosecutor's report actually find $114,000 hidden inside UCPAC? And that was just 1 year. So the question is, what about all those other years? So somehow this money that supposedly is for great accountability was being hidden. So it makes no sense.
I was curious as to the former county manager entered into a contract with the Barclays, and was in the contract there were parking revenues that
were earmarked for Music Fest, and I was wondering how it was possible that those revenues could be dictated by a outside agency from the county, should be earmarked for Music Fest, and that those monies did not go into the general fund. It's something I've never understood. And if we could have that explained, I'd appreciate it. And then going through last year's expenses for Music Fest, there were $6,500 allocated. There was $6,500 allocated for the construction installation of art in the Green Village. I think it.
I'm sorry, you mean this past Music Fest or the year ago Music Fest, 10 or 11?
I think it was 10 actually.
11.
Was it 11? I'm sorry,
Okay.
I stand correct. 11. $6,500 allocated for the construction of art, which was made out of soda bottles and garbage, basically. And I was wondering, where is that art today? Since we spent $6,500 for it, is it on exhibit somewhere? I'm just curious. Do we get the bang for our buck on that one? And
Phoebe, can you respond to the, Director Taylor, can you respond to the questions with regard to Music Fest, and I guess in particular the parking revenue with regard to Barclays?
Yes, Madam Chair. The revenue collected through the Barclays, the $125,000, is considered a dedication by rider. It is put into a trust account specific for Music Fest. We put it into the community initiatives line, and as a result, it does not come into the general fund, so we can only expend those monies if expenses are warranted against Music Fest. Any donor can make a donation to the county, and if it's a dedicated item, specific like the Barclays amount, we then put it into a specific trust account, and again, expenses can only be charged to that trust for that intended purpose.
With regard to your question on where the art is today, I'm going to have to find out. I don't have an answer to that.
It was try to convince themselves. Go ahead, anybody else?
What more can be said about that?
No. There are more than five. I thought your question was my question anyway. It's the tax stuff.
And it's been reported to the IRS. Was that one of the things we reported recently? We did get a letter today, actually. I didn't really look at the mail, but several things were reported to the IRS, and we got responses, separate responses for each one. And this is one of the things that I believe the IRS, I mean, we're citizens. I'm a citizen. I shouldn't have to be here at 11 o'clock talking about this. There are people out there, law enforcement, that get paid to do this sort of watchdogging. It's their job. So hopefully they'll do their jobs. I'm going to do what I can, but hopefully the IRS is going to poke around at them too. But I'm not saying I don't know if it's something wrong. I don't know. But all I'm saying is I asked that question and I'm not getting an answer. So I don't know why they have to funnel this money through the Arts Center when they have an entire department created just to run Music Fest and their parties in the parks. Why they have to involve the Arts Center, it just doesn't smell right. I'm not saying that anything's being done wrong on the part of the Arts Center, but something's definitely being done wrong with our government, that they have to behave this way with these back doors and shady, smoky, come try and follow our trail, you know, and it's tiring. I'm beyond angry about it, but I'm not going to give up. And hopefully the IRS and the other state agencies will step in and start doing their job. I mean, the Union County prosecutor isn't going to do it. We know that, and hopefully the governor knows that too now.
Is there going to be a new prosecutor?
I don't know. I've heard things from several different places, so I don't know. I don't know if that's even the answer. It's not if they're going to be a new prosecutor, just a new kind of political hack in town, what good is that going to do? I mean, county prosecutors should not be involved with policing their friends and buddies. They should recuse themselves. At the very least, it should be sent to another county if the state isn't going to handle it themselves, and the state should just have a corruption unit. I mean, if this was in place, who knows? I mean, the Music Fest has been going on for years. We haven't been able to follow the money on Music Fest. If there was some sort of law enforcement in place, some sort of grown-up in charge, this stuff would never happen. They would behave. So who knows? How can you quantify how much money is wasted? And Music Fest is just one example of a $400 and something million budget, and this is how they go about our business. It's disgusting. It's disgraceful. And everyone in law enforcement that has a finger on this or is responsible for watching over it or doing something about it, they should be ashamed of themselves. That they've betrayed their public trust. That they've betrayed us. They should be ashamed.